Olá! Hoje nós vamos para o lado das artes, em especial da arte da pintura. Você já deve ter visto algumas daquelas gravuras de uma pessoa subindo uma escada, a escada vai vindo para cá e daí ela termina naquela escada em si mesma. Ou você deve ter visto aquela outra gravura, onde você tem um peixe que sai do mar e ele vai se transformando num pássaro, tudo através de símbolos bastante geométricos, né? Essa é a arte que você deve ter visto, e eu vou ler aqui um pouquinho disso, é da influência do Escher, aquele holandês. É uma arte abstrata, uma arte ao mesmo tempo bastante moderna, e ela é quase que surrealista. Essa mesma arte criou uma série de discípulos pelo mundo afora, e foi trazendo uma nova geração de pintores. E é com um deles que nós vamos conversar hoje. Nós vamos conversar com o Chris Tucker, que está visitando a nossa cidade, em Sorocaba e região, que ele é um discípulo mais contemporâneo de artistas como o Vasarely, né? Ou o Brigitte Riley, que lá naqueles anos 60 ou 70, e eu estou lendo aqui, lideraram um movimento artístico que hoje é conhecido como a tal da op art, né? Ou optical art, que é aquela arte que encanta os olhos e confunde um pouco aquele movimento cerebral, sua sinapse, né? Ele é um aluno da prestigiada Chelsea School of Art, lá em Londres, nos anos 60. Na realidade, não cabe muito em nenhum movimento artístico que nós possamos ver, né? Porque é uma arte que varia do figurativo ao abstrato, ao surreal, ao ilusionário. E vocês vão poder acompanhar isso durante a nossa entrevista. Mas é uma arte não apenas decorativa, mas ela também é conceitual, né? É uma abstração geométrica em algumas de suas obras e ela ganha contornos orgânicos que busca aproximar o espectador. Essa conversa que nós vamos ter com o Chris. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Sergio Romeo.
E nós vamos conversar em inglês. Vocês me desculpem um pouco pelo inglês, que, como qualquer coisa na vida, requer prática, prática, prática. E se você não pratica, você fica enferrujado. Mas vamos lá. Welcome to Sorocaba, Chris.
Thank you. Well, obrigado.
Obrigado. That's most of the Portuguese you speak, isn't it?
Yes, I'm sadly, being very old, find it difficult to learn the language, but I'm working on it.
You're working on it. How long you moved to Brazil?
About 18 months ago.
18 months. You first moved to Itatiba?
Yes.
And now you're back to São Paulo?
Yes, been back about 10 days.
Oh, only 10 days
Yes.
back to São Paulo. Uh-huh. And tell me a little bit about your art. I know you really spend a lot of time doing your art.
Yes,
There is
yes.
an explanation on your art, or just to see it?
Just to see it, and then you will discover your own explanation of what it's for. I'm a great believer that the viewer contributes to the work of art and its effectiveness as much as the artist.
Mm-hmm. What was your upbringing, your formation, your education in arts?
Well, I've always been able to draw, ever since I was a child. And I never saw it as something to be congratulated about. It's like being born right-handed. So I was always exploring the visual world. And I got particularly interested in pure mathematics. And I could see...
Are you good at math?
Good is a very high... But I'm passionate about it. I like mathematics. Mm-hmm. I find it possibly the most creative of disciplines. And examining and looking around the world, I could see how there was a connection between mathematics and what we see, the way trees are made, the way grass is made, the way people are made, where buildings are made. because if you can analyze the whole thing in mathematical terms. And I found I was exploring the visual phenomena of mathematics to drawing. And then I was influenced by people like Bridget Riley, Vasarali. And I decided to go to art school, and I was fortunate enough to get accepted at Chelsea School of Art, where I started this exploration into mathematics, geometry.
And how do you start? I mean, you draw. You have to be good in geometry, right?
It's a combination of both. It starts with an idea, and that idea is generated by a previous piece of art. So the whole process is a development of almost like exploring ideas. And sometimes you move in one direction and the direction ends, there's a brick wall. So you go back, you try something else. And I'm constantly experimenting. I sometimes end up doing figurative work simply to make a change, to renew my skills at drawing, because I believe that drawing is the most necessary point of creativity. I think Picasso said, you have to learn all the skills and all the rules by drawing, then you know how to break them. So I can take those rules and apply them with mathematics.
It's like they usually say that the best rock and rollers, they have to start with a good classical guitar or a good classical piano, like Picasso. You have to know really well the basics.
How to play.
Yeah. You know how to. You have to learn how to paint.
Yes, and it's a personal exploration. I mean, I'm going to art lessons, art history lessons.
How long did you study at Chelsea?
3 years. 3 years. And before that, I was at a pre-diploma art school. The way it works is that you do a year or two exploring general applications of art, painting, sculpture, photography, printmaking. And then you go through that year and you start discovering what your particular desires are. And I was involved in painting. And so somebody suggested I try to Chelsea. And I thought, ooh, because at the time it's like...
How old were you then?
20, 21, because I'd made a big mistake when I left school. I joined the Royal Navy, but I left rapidly to get there.
You went to the Navy to see the world?
No, I didn't. I spent 18 months in the Navy because...
Go to Falklands.
Yes, no, thank you. I was in there way before the Falklands. But all those experiences you can feed into your art. I think most artists, you don't work in a vacuum.
You consider yourself more of a drawing or a painter?
I see no difference.
I see no difference.
Yeah, drawing is painting with a pencil, if you like, and painting is, it's only. These are kind of conventional terms, but I kind of find I'm doing the same thing, exploring, making notes about an idea, building up things. The drawing essentially is, to me, making notes in order that I can continue those notes, maybe in colour, maybe not. And sometimes I make them in 3 dimensions. It's all in the gut, really.
And we have an expression here. It says, what fountain did you drink from? Or what was the source of your inspiration? What are the major painters that you caught your attention?
Ooh, there's a lot of them. From Caravaggio, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, Michelangelo's knowledge of mathematics and geometry is extraordinary. He designed St. Peter's in Rome, and he had to work out how to paint on a curved surface, something that looks flat, and at the same time using fresco, which is used with dry plaster, wet plaster, sorry. And as soon as it dries out, you have to chip it off and start again. So the understanding of geometry, and then the people like Hieronymus Bosch, Bruegel, Salvador Dali, the surrealism, because the sort of art I explore with has elements of surreality, and the movement, and Paul Klee, Bridget Riley, Vasarali. One of my favourites is, God, his name's completely gone from me.
Eckert?
No, it's okay. Yeah, this guy does big blocks of colour, enormous paintings. I shall remember him shortly. And also, something that I discovered in art school is that I had to relearn all the rules about drawing, although I could draw. And one of the major problems for most artists is creating a 3 dimensions on a flat surface. And there's all ways of doing that. There's perspective, or like some of the geometrical stuff, which I do, which moves all the time.
Light.
Yes.
Shadow.
Oh yes, and then there's kinetic art. One of the most beautiful pieces I saw of that was during the opening ceremony of the Rio Olympics, where the torch was actually a piece of genetic sculpture which kind of moved and did all sorts of wonderful things. So I'm constantly noticing that. I mean, I love Sao Paulo because it's almost a 3-dimensional version of some of my pictures. And I use that, the repetitive nature of it. You can feel the energy that's created through repetitions and series. And that comes back to mathematics with series and stuff.
You mentioned Sao Paulo, and you're basically a person who spent most of your life in London, right?
Yes, yes.
And what made you come to Brazil and Sao Paulo, and is so much contrast, or?
Well, essentially I came to Brazil because I met my wife, who was Brazilian. Mm-hmm. And I came to Sao Paulo.
But to move here is an entirely different proposition.
That's true. What I liked was the energy here. The creative energy.
Affect your work then?
It stimulates my work.
It stimulates your work.
When Angela and I got married, we went on honeymoon to Rio. And part of the trip we did on a couple of motorbikes into one of the favelas, Rocinha. And the creative energy there that was going on was absolutely astounding. In fact, that's my main feeling about Brazil, is that the creative energy, the way you do things in a different way to make it work. And Sao Paulo itself, to me, is really energetic, which is why we moved, because I think Angela feels the same, from the country. I missed the energy of a city. Mm-hmm. And it influences what I do.
Yes, you were in Itatiba for all these 18 months, but you're out in the country, beautiful, nice, but
it was okay, and I wasn't particularly motivated by the countryside, because I was born and brought up to about the age of 15 in a beautiful countryside in England, in a county called Dorset.
It is a bit of a countryside.
And a beautiful view is a beautiful view, but that, so I have that going for me.
A room with a view.
A room with a view.
Yes.
And the view I prefer is places like Sao Paulo, San Francisco, New York, and London.
Do you see that your present art is changing, is going to a different direction? How's that creative work takes shape?
It's slowly changing, I'm finding. I'm finding I'm being a little freer in the way I'm drawing. I'm not so restricted by geometrical rules. I'm sort of ignoring them to some extent and trying to deliberately ignore them. But my obsession, it seems to keep coming back, because actually the whole world can be described in mathematical terms anyway. So it's just a matter of just a personal feel. And essentially I draw because
everywhere you look is geometrical.
Yes,
the flower.
The
snowflake, we don't have here, and a sunflower. For
absolutely,
instance.
So it's all there, and it's just capturing those ideas and putting them down on paper, because it's obsessive. I like to paint 8 hours a day.
Yes, there is for our audience, there is a documentary by Walt Disney, or Disney. I think it's one of these Disneyland things they show, but it's about the geometry in nature, which is from the shell and the shores to the flowers.
Ora, não podemos ser todos matematicamente perfeitos. Agora que você está embutido num pentágono, vamos ver como a natureza usa esta mesma forma matemática. A petúnia. O jasmim estrela. A estrela do mar. A flor de cera. Existem literalmente milhares de membros de destaque na sociedade pitagórica da estrela na natureza.
I played with it a lot, the helix.
Helix,
which is the double helix, which is the essential nature of DNA.
Yes.
So I've done drawings, etc. Oh, the other thing which inspired me at school, we did engineering drawing. So I was learning how to draw engineering plans, etc. That also gave me some disciplines to be able to construct images on the flat surface. So I had that skill going for me. It's interesting talking to you here. I'm sure I forget all the influences that come, but every day, you know, there's an influence going on.
You also drew engineering. I mean, like
cogs, helix, screws, various geometrical structures.
You worked in something else besides being a painter, right?
Yes, yeah, I did.
What did you do before?
Oh, well, I've worked for the railways.
For the railways.
Involved in timetabling, and that was a fantastic mathematical thing.
You did what, sorry?
Worked with a department that helped create timetables.
Timetables são os horários.
And they're very complex arithmetical things, you know.
But that was by head and hand?
And computer.
And computer,
yeah,
right?
Because I have worked a lot on the computer.
Okay.
Because
now it's all computer, right?
Yes, yeah. No, I do both. I work on the computer and I work...
No, I mean the timetable.
Oh yeah, it's all done on computer and then put to print. But the complexity of timetables was extraordinarily fascinating. So I loved all that. And for a long time I was also an illustrator and did some marketing consultancy as a freelance designer. And I was also doing my painting and drawing, as well as designing for other people. And those are all the things you had to do for money. I'm now in a situation where I'm officially retired, so I get my various pensions, which leaves me totally free to do nothing but create visual images.
Great.
And Brazil is very encouraging of that.
Pessoal, nós estamos chegando ao final da nossa conversa. O tempo passou rápido. Eu vou deixar com o Chris as final words, last words com o Chris, para despedir-se de nós. Your last words.
Muito obrigado, Brasil.
Pessoal, muito obrigado. Gostou? Marca aí, passa para os amigos, que aqui tem coisas cada vez mais interessantes. A gente tem muita coisa vindo aí pela frente. Muito obrigado.